Hey folks, so I thought it was time here. I have been mowing with this 2019 John Deere 2500B Precision Cut for about 3 weeks, and I figured it was time I would give you my honest opinion on it. So if you guys remember, I have a, I believe it's I want to say a 2012, somewhere around there, John Deere 2500E, which is the electric-driven reel version of this 2500B. But I needed something to fill a gap in my fleet, where essentially if I had issues with this mower or that other mower, that I could just interchange reels without having to adjust them all the time, like my other backup mowers that I have, my backup reel mowers. So anyway, I just want to give my honest opinion on this mower and kind of compare it to the 2500E in some ways and go from there. But I'm very happy with this mower to start. You know, it's a very clean mower. It had 1,200 hours on it when I bought it. I bought it for a pretty good price here, and it did have some slight reconditioning that came with it. It came from South Carolina. I'm located in northern Wisconsin, so this was the perfect mower for me. As you can see, it's liquid cooled. It's 2500B, which essentially means that the reels are hydraulically driven instead of electronically driven, and I wanted this hydraulically driven version because I do plan on keeping this a while, and I did not want to have to pay to have the drivers rebuilt, which is quite expensive, around $4,000 to $5,000 for the electronically driven drivers to be rebuilt on my 2500E, and that's why I went with the 2500B. Ultimately, I wanted the diesel version of this, but they're so rare and I could not find it, so I had to settle on this basically new unit. And just like the 2500E, it is driven by a Kawasaki engine, I believe putting out 24 horsepower. And these engines are fairly reliable. I haven't had any issues in my other 2500E, and that's why I wanted to stick with this Kawasaki engine. The only thing that did go wrong was some engine mounts needed to be replaced, but that isn't a huge deal. Otherwise, everything else is pretty standard. You know, very normal, just your basic engine. So I run Kawasaki's in my Cub Cadet mowers as well, and I do like what they have to offer. So again, this mower feels just a tad bit underpowered at times. I think they could have went with a 27 or a 28 horsepower engine compared to the 24 horsepower engine. You get some information here. The people who set this up had 18 psi in here, although you're supposed to only fill it to 10 to 12 is what I run, is 12. And they're just, you know, your typical daily service intervals here on the inner part of the cowl. And there is a little bit of a design change here where the radiator is and the cooling that is supposed to help keep this engine a little bit more cool than its previous version. And I do have to say I like it a lot. I'm pretty impressed with it so far. One thing I do have to say here is the ease of driving the machine. So I've driven Toros, I've driven Jacobsons, I've driven Ransoms, pretty much the whole gamut of Triplex mowers. And my favorite overall mower is, of course, the Toro Greensmaster. There's no comparison to that in terms of cut quality, overall operating, and just ease of getting to the engine and working on it. But I do have to say the overall driving characteristics of the and operating characteristics of the mowing is second to none to this John Deere. Everything is right here: your light switch, your little information cluster, throttle, cutting units, turn it on, and the joystick function of lowering and raising the cutting units is fantastic. And knock on wood, I haven't had that fail me yet on either this mower or the 2500E. Even coming down to the backlapping is very simple here. with the backlapping option being in here, and of course your reel speed in here as well, all hydraulically controlled. The one thing I do like about the 2500E is that everything is just a button, basically a flip of the switch, because it's all electronically driven. But everything is fairly easy to see in here if you're familiar with John Deere at all. It's just your typical lift up for the backlapping procedure, and of course the speed of what the reels go at. So that brings me to the reels themselves. These have newer, let's just take a look here. These have newer John Deere 22QA5 reel for 7B. These are, you can see the data manufacturer. The actual unit themselves is a little older than the actual mower. So whoever had this before must have put, and again, there we go, must have put some different reels on there. But I don't mind these reels. They are actually 11-bladed reels on here. You know, say what you want. They're okay. I'm truly not sure, though, and I'll show this when I mow. It's wet right now. There's dew on the greens just like any other day you're out mowing. But I don't know if these reels get the speed necessary to throw the grass into the buckets. And that could be due to the actual bucket themselves. This is a different style of bucket, or it could be due to the hydraulically driven reels themselves. One thing I do like about the electric cut is that it is always one speed, depending, no matter what the throttle is, you're going to get the same speed out of the electric driven reels. But I like those older style of reels better than these newer ones. I don't feel like the grass is being thrown out of there as much as it could. And that's kind of my thing there. I'm not a big fan of the cut on this machine either, but I may just need to buy new reels and new bed knives or get them sharpened. So that's not a huge deal, but I wish that it was a little bit of a better cut like the E series instead of this B series here. But you can see here, they did change the style of buckets on here, so it's a little bit easier to take off one-handed and put on. You know, everything just slides into place there along the side, so you just line it up, put it back into place like so, and now you're back into place. So they got rid of that style where it was like a loop style, more like this where it would loop in there. And with this one, it's pretty easy. You just pull it out off to the side, but they built this a lot better than the old style, because I've had a lot of issues with that old loop style with the buckets either falling off or the buckets just not basically working right and getting eaten up by the reels themselves. But you know, overall, for the money I paid with this, it's fairly easy to work on. I mean, it's not like really easy like a Toro would be, but it gets a job done. And I'm overall, I'm very happy with it. It's very comfortable, very easy to mow with. It's quite honestly my favorite thing to do out here is to mow. And you know, your grease zerks are easily available, just like a typical 2500 series mower. Everything's easy to reach in terms of the grease zerks, which is really, really nice. And actually not typical John Deere fashion. John Deere fashion is usually pretty hard to reach all your grease zerks and to work on it. But this mower, they designed very well. And I do have to say, it's very nice. The one thing I have to knock on it is these reels that are on there, the cutting units. Not a huge fan of them. I don't feel that the brushes move fast enough either to brush all the stuff off of the reel or off of the roller, and they could be going faster than what they are going. I just don't feel like they're going fast enough. So, you know, the only thing, like I said, I have to knock is that I just don't think that this engine is powerful enough to run these run the hydraulics and everything else. But overall, so far so good with it. I think I've bought it with 1,250 hours. I think I've got 1,260 hours on it right now. So I haven't used it a ton, but I've used it enough here. We're finally reaching growing season here in northern Wisconsin. It's May 8th today, and now I'm finally using it a little bit more. But I like it so far. It drives well. The hydrostatic transmission is really good. And that's about all there is to it. It's a great machine. 2019, runs like a champ, runs like a Deere. It'd be a really good option for anybody out there either looking to upgrade their machine or their fleet, or just, if you want to continue off your John Deere 2500E or B or whatever you had that's a little bit older. Definitely look into this machine. It is excellent. Very, very impressed, very happy with it so far.